A very good evening, aspirants. Welcome to the daily news analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy, and this is Nithin from Shankar IAS Academy. And today, 12th July 2024, we have a list of 7 articles for the discussion, and let's begin with the first one. So look at this article, aspirants. It talks about the arrest of 13 fishermen from the Pudukottai district of Tamil Nadu by the Sri Lankan Navy. So we often come across this type of incidents in news, like the Indian fishermen are getting arrested by the Sri Lankan Navy. So in this background, we are going to understand the background of Indo-Sri Lankan relation and the recent trends. Let's get started. As the Indian Ocean's geopolitical landscape continues to evolve, the ancient bonds between India and Sri Lanka are being redefined by the modern day diplomacy. With a shared cultural heritage and strategic interest, the two nations are navigating a delicate balance of cooperation and competition. From trade and tourism to defense diplomacy, the India-Sri Lanka relationship is a fascinating case for civil servants in training. As we prepare to serve the nation, understanding the intricacies of international relations between these two key South Asian players is crucial. So we will discuss this matter in a mains answer writing perspective. Here is our today's mains question. India is an age-old friend of Sri Lanka. Discuss India's role in recent crisis in Sri Lanka in the light of preceding statement. Here, with respect to this question, we have to cover how India's part in aiding Sri Lanka's recent political and economical crisis. In our intro, we have to give a brief background about India-Sri Lanka relation. India's relationship with Sri Lanka is rooted in history, culture, and geography. The statement, India is an age-old friend of Sri Lanka, resonates with the strong bonds between the two nations. Sri Lanka faced a severe economic crisis in 2022 with a GDP contraction of 8.4% according to the World Bank. This economic crisis led to political crisis with widespread protest and a change in the government. It tested the India-Sri Lanka friendship. India's response has been crucial in mitigating the crisis. Moving on to the body part, let's look at India's role in addressing the issue. First, we will look what are the reasons for the present crisis. First, ethnic tensions. Sri Lanka has a long history of ethnic tensions between the majority Sinhala and the minority Tamil communities. Second, discrimination. Tamil minorities have faced discrimination in education, employment, and government representation in Sri Lanka. Third, a 26-year civil war between the government and the Tamil Tigers ended in 2009, but it left deep scars and divisions in the society. Fourth, power struggle. Political power struggles between different factions have led to instability and lack of effective governance in Sri Lanka. Economic challenges. High levels of debt and unemployment coupled with corruption and mismanagement have contributed to economic instability in Sri Lanka. Outbreak of COVID pandemic. The outbreak of COVID pandemic further exacerbated economic challenges and political tensions. Seventh, international pressure. The international community has called for accountability for human rights abuses during the civil war, which has complicated efforts towards reconciliation and stability. Now we will see the role of India during Sri Lanka crisis. First one, COVID-19 assistance. India has provided medical supplies and equipment to Sri Lanka to support its response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Second, economic support. India extended a $1 billion line of credit to Sri Lanka in 2022. In addition to that, a $400 million swap arrangement was provided. This helped Sri Lanka meet its essential import requirements. According to the Ministry of External Affairs, India supplied 40,000 metric tons of rice to Sri Lanka under the line of credit. According to Indian Oil Corporation, India provided 40,000 metric tons of fuel to Sri Lanka on the line of credit. This accounted for 20% of Sri Lanka's monthly fuel requirements, according to the Sri Lankan Ministry of Energy. Next, diplomatic engagement. India has engaged in diplomatic efforts to support stability and reconciliation in Sri Lanka, including through the India-Sri Lanka Joint Commission. Next, defense cooperation. India has provided training and support to the Sri Lankan armed forces to enhance their capabilities and improve maritime security. Next, cultural ties. India and Sri Lanka share strong cultural ties, and India has supported cultural exchanges and preservation efforts in Sri Lanka. Finally, diplomatic support. India played a crucial role in facilitating Sri Lanka's engagement with the International Monetary Fund. With this, let's conclude our answer. India has played a significant role in supporting Sri Lanka during the recent crisis, reflecting the strong bilateral relationship between the two countries. To ensure long-term stability, India must continue to support reconciliation and economic development in Sri Lanka while respecting its sovereignty. That's all regarding this article. With this, we will move on to the next article. This news article talks about the recent surge in Zika virus cases in India, notably in Pune and Karnataka. Consequently, the Union Health Ministry, along with the state health departments, has ramped up efforts to combat the spread of Zika virus by increasing testing, screening pregnant women, and intensifying vector control activities. This is what the article is talking about. In this backdrop, let us revise certain facts about Zika virus from the prelims perspective. Let us begin with the transmission pattern of Zika virus. See, Zika virus is primarily transmitted by the bite of an infected mosquito from the genus Aedes, mainly from the species Aedes aegypti. This Aedes mosquitoes usually bite during the day, peaking during early morning and late afternoon or evening. Remember, this is same mosquito that transmits dengue, chikungunya and yellow fever. And if you see, Zika virus is also transmitted from mother to fetus during pregnancy through sexual contact, transfusion of blood and blood products, and also through organ transplantation. Now let us look into the symptoms and signs of Zika virus. The incubation period means the period between exposure to symptoms of Zika virus disease is estimated to be 3 to 14 days. Know that the majority of people infected with the Zika virus do not develop major symptoms, and if they developed symptoms, it is generally like mild fever, rashes, conjunctivitis, muscle and joint pain, and headache. It usually lasts for 2 to 7 days. But the complications of Zika virus is what is our concern. Zika virus infection of the mother during the pregnancy is a cause of microcephaly. That is, the newborn baby has a small head than what is considered normal. Other congenital abnormalities also happen in the developing fetus and newborn. Besides, Zika virus infection in pregnancy also results in pregnancy complications such as fetal loss, stillbirth, and preterm birth. Besides these, Zika virus infection is also a trigger of Guillain-Barré syndrome, a syndrome that usually affects the nerve system, neuropathy, and myelitis. All these are particularly in adults and older children rarely. So that takes us to a question for the cure of Zika virus. See, there is no treatment available for Zika virus infection or its associated disease. Symptoms of Zika virus infection are usually mild. People with the symptoms such as fever, rashes, arthagallia should get plenty of rest, drink fluids, treat pain and fever with the common medicines. And besides this, pregnant women living in areas surrounded with the Zika virus transmission who develop symptoms of Zika virus infection should seek medical attention for laboratory testing and other clinical care. Prevention is always better than cure. So prevention of mosquito bites is an important aspect of prevention. That could be using mosquito nets, preventing water stagnation, keeping the surrounding clean, and measures like that. With this, we are concluding this article, and now we are moving on to the next article. Look at this article. It talks about the recent BIMSTEC Foreign Ministers retreat held in New Delhi. This meeting was led by External Affairs Minister that emphasized the importance of collaboration to address the shared challenges. The meeting was also significant due to the ongoing crisis in Myanmar, where the military junta is facing increasing resistance from various ethnic armed organizations. Mr. Shankar, External Affairs Minister, highlighted the urgency of capacity building and economic cooperation within BIMSTEC, especially in the light of instability in Myanmar, which threatens the regional development and connectivity projects. This is the crux of the article. In this backdrop, let us revise about BIMSTEC from the prelims perspective. BIMSTEC, that is the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral, Technical and Economic Cooperation. The cooperation came into existence on 6th June 1997 through the Bangkok Declaration. It is a regional organization of 7 member states lying in the littoral and adjacent areas of Bay of Bengal. So BIMSTEC is a region or countries lying along the shore of Bay of Bengal. As you can see in this map, the 7 member states, including 5 from the South Asia, that is Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and 2 from Southeast Asia, Myanmar and Thailand. Know that initially this BIMSTEC was formed as an economic bloc consisting of 4 member states with an acronym BISTEC, that is Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, Thailand Economic Cooperation. Then in December 1997, Myanmar was included, and in 2004, Nepal and Bhutan were included. BIMSTEC was conceived as a sub-regional forum bringing South Asia and Southeast Asian regions closer. The forum provides a better position for India's Act East policy, the development process of northeastern region of India. BIMSTEC has also established a platform for inter-regional cooperation between SAARC and ASEAN members. Know that BIMSTEC region is home to around 1.5 billion people, and they constitute around 22% of the global population, along with the combined gross domestic product of 2.7 trillion economy. Now, the objective of building an alliance was to harness shared and accelerated growth through mutual cooperation. Okay, and importantly, it is a sector-driven cooperative organization. And the sectors of focus include trade, technology, energy, transport, tourism, fisheries, agriculture, public health and poverty alleviation, counter-terrorism, environment, culture, people-to-people cooperation and climate change. Next, the chairmanship of BIMSTEC rotates among the member states and the present chairman is Sri Lanka. The chairmanship for 2021 and 2022 was assumed by Thailand. And also know that India was in the chair in 2000 and then in 2006 to 2008. The permanent secretariat is established in Dhaka, that is the capital of Bangladesh. Additionally, know that BIMSTEC Summit is the highest policy making body in the BIMSTEC process, and this summit is held in every 2 years. So that's all regarding this article, and with this we are moving on to the next article. Look at this article. It talks about the government's recent plans to expand the scope of electric vehicles. And in this background, we will discuss the challenges that we are facing in the production of electric vehicles, its benefits and its limitations. Let's begin this article. The government plans to expand its electric vehicle policy, which was announced in March. The expanded policy will have a retrospective effect, which means it will benefit those who have already invested, but previously only those who setting up local facilities within 3 years of approval were eligible for incentives. The revised policy aims to encourage global players to localize production and invest in the domestic ecosystem. However, the formal announcement of the revised policy is expected in August. Now we are going to discuss what are the challenges that we are facing in production of electric vehicles. Producing electric vehicles in India faces several significant challenges. One of the primary obstacles is the lack of robust manufacturing ecosystem. Unlike traditional vehicles, electric vehicles require specialized components such as batteries, electric motors and advanced electronics. Okay, India currently imports many of these key components, which increases cost and dependency on other countries. To establish a strong electric vehicle industry, India needs to develop a local supply chain and invest in manufacturing capabilities. Another challenge is the high cost of electric vehicle production. Batteries, which are the most expensive part of an electric vehicle, significantly contribute to the overall cost. Despite recent advances in battery technology and reduction in cost, EVs are still generally more expensive than their internal combustion engine counterparts. This high cost can be deterrent for consumers, especially in price-sensitive market like India. To address this issue, the government and private sector need to invest in research and development to make batteries more affordable and efficient. Next, infrastructure is the another critical challenge. Electric vehicles require a network of charging stations, and India currently lacks sufficient charging infrastructure. Without easy access to charging points, potential electric vehicle buyers may hesitate to switch from traditional vehicles. Expanding the charging network across urban and rural area is essential to support the growing number of electric vehicles and alleviate concerns about range anxiety. Last, there is the issue of public awareness and acceptance. Many consumers are still unfamiliar with the electric vehicle technology and its benefits. Misconceptions about the reliability, performance, and maintenance of electric vehicles can hinder their adoption. Public education campaigns and incentives to encourage electric vehicle purchases can help increase awareness and acceptance among consumers. Addressing these challenges requires coordinated effort from government, industry and other stakeholders. By building a strong manufacturing ecosystem, reducing production costs, expanding infrastructure and increasing public awareness, India can overcome these obstacles and become a leader in electric vehicle market. Now we will see what are the benefits of electric vehicles in India. Electric vehicles offers numerous benefits. One of the most significant advantages is environmental. Electric vehicles produce zero tailpipe emissions, reducing air pollution in cities and helping combat climate change. Given India's high levels of pollution in urban areas, widespread adoption of electric vehicles can contribute to clear air and improved public health. Another benefit is a potential for cost savings. Although the initial purchase price of an electric vehicle can be higher than the traditional vehicle price, but the running costs are significantly lower. Electric vehicles have fewer moving parts, which means less maintenance and lower repair costs. Additionally, the cost of electricity for charging is generally cheaper than fuel, leading to a long-term savings for consumers. Next benefit, electric vehicles also helps in reducing our dependence on imported oil. India imports a significant portion of its oil, making it vulnerable to fluctuations in global oil prices and supply disruptions. By transitioning to electric vehicles, India can reduce its oil imports, improve energy security and support the use of domestically produced electricity, including renewable energy sources like solar and wind. Last, the growth of electric vehicle industry can boost the economy by creating new jobs and industries. Developing a local manufacturing ecosystem will require skilled labor, innovation and investment, providing opportunities for economic growth and development. Moving forward, now let us discuss what are the limitations of electric vehicles. Despite their benefits, electric vehicles have several limitations that need to be addressed. One major limitation is the current lack of charging infrastructure. Without an extensive network of charging stations, electric vehicle owners may face difficulties in charging their vehicles, especially on long trips. Expanding the charging infrastructure is crucial to support the increasing number of electric vehicles on the road. Another limitation is the high initial cost of electric vehicles. While running costs are lower, the upfront price can be a barrier for many consumers. This is primarily due to the cost of batteries, which remains expensive despite recent price reductions. To make electric vehicles more accessible, there needs to be focus on reducing battery cost and offering financial incentives to buyers. The limited range of electric vehicles compared to traditional vehicle is also a concern. Although newer models have improved range, many consumers still worry about running out of charge during their journeys, known as range anxiety. Advances in battery technology and the development of fast charging solutions are necessary to alleviate these concerns. Additionally, there are challenges related to battery disposal and recycling. As the number of electric vehicles increases, so will the number of used batteries that need to be properly disposed or recycled. Developing sustainable methods for battery recycling and disposal is essential to prevent environmental harm and make the electric vehicle industry more sustainable. Finally, the current lack of consumer awareness and acceptance of electric vehicles can hinder their adoption. Many people are not fully informed about the benefits and practicalities of owning an electric vehicle. Public education campaigns and incentives can help increase awareness and encourage more people to consider switching to electric vehicles. In this discussion, we have seen about the challenges in production of electric vehicles, benefits and limitations, and with this we are moving on to the next article. So aspirants, take a look at this article. It talks about weight loss is among the best routes to diabetes remission. With this, the world organizations are coming with a new term, that is remission of diabetes. We all know what is remission. Remission is reducing the intensity of something. So in this background, we are going to discuss what is diabetes, what are the different types of diabetes, and what are the medications and therapies we are now using to treat the diabetes. So with this, we will move on to the further explanation. So we all know India, a nation sweetened by diversity, and is also battling a bitter truth, that is diabetes, an epidemic that is spreading like wildfire. With over 74 million people living with this condition, India is the second largest home to the diabetes population in the world. But did you know that diabetes comes in many forms, each with its own set of challenges? The diabetes landscape in India is complex and multifaceted. With this, we will delve into the world of diabetes, exploring its various types, the Indian scenario, and the stories of those affected. Get ready to uncover the sweet and the sour truth about diabetes in India. Diabetes is a chronic medical condition characterized by high levels of glucose, that is sugar, in the blood. It occurs when the body either cannot produce enough insulin or cannot effectively use the insulin it produces. There are different types of diabetes. Type 1 diabetes. It is an autoimmune condition where the immune system attacks and destroys insulin producing beta cells in the pancreas. What are the characteristics of type 1 diabetes? It is often diagnosed in children and young adults. It requires lifelong insulin therapy. What are the symptoms of this type 1 diabetes? Symptoms includes excessive thirst, frequent urination, hunger, weight loss, fatigue, and blurred vision. Second, type 2 diabetes. It causes due to insulin resistance, where the body cells do not respond properly to the insulin and often combined with a relative insulin deficiency. So we have to understand what is the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Type 1 is an autoimmune condition where the immune system attacks and destroys insulin producing beta cells in the pancreas, where in the case of diabetes type 2, here it causes due to the insulin resistance, where the body cells do not respond properly to the insulin. Okay, keep this difference in the mind, and we will move on to the what are the characteristics of diabetes type 2. Okay, with this we will move on to the characteristics of type 2 diabetes. Okay, it commonly associated with older age, obesity, physical inactivity, and genetic predisposition. We can manage this type 2 diabetes with the lifestyle changes, oral medications, and sometimes insulin. And the symptoms of type 2 diabetes are similar to type 1 but often develop more gradually. Third type, gestational diabetes. What is the causes? Occurs during pregnancy when body cannot produce enough insulin to meet the extra needs. Okay guys, it usually occurs during the pregnancy when the body cannot produce enough insulin to meet the extra needs. Okay, what are the characteristics? It is typically diagnosed during the second or third trimester and usually resolves after the childbirth, but increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes later in the life and can cause complications for both mother and baby if not managed properly. Fourth type, pre-diabetes. So we often come across this term pre-diabetes or pre-hypertension. So what is the feature? The feature of this is the blood sugar levels are higher than the normal. That means here the blood sugar levels are higher than the normal level, but not enough to be classified as the type 2 diabetes. Okay. So what are the characteristics? Indicates a higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes, but it is often reversible with lifestyle changes like diet and exercise. What are the other specific types of diabetes? First one, maturity onset of young. It is a rare form of diabetes caused by a change or mutation in a single gene. Second, latent autoimmune diabetes in adults, a form of type 1 diabetes that occurs in adults and progresses more slowly than typical type 1 diabetes. So third one, secondary diabetes. It causes mainly due to another medical condition or due to the usage of certain medications that affect insulin production or usage. Understanding diabetes, its types, medications and preventive measures. Okay, with this we are coming to the conclusion of this topic. Understanding diabetes, its types, medications and preventive measures is crucial for managing this widespread condition and improving quality of life, because we know that as per the recent estimation, India is expected to have 19% of old age population by 2050. So it is very crucial for a nation like India. With this, we are moving on to the next article. Look at this article on dengue. As of April 30, 2024, the World Health Organization reported 7.6 million dengue cases globally, with 3.4 million confirmed cases, over 16,000 severe cases, and more than 3,000 deaths. Dengue is now endemic in over 100 countries, with Americas, East Asia, Southeast Asia, and the Western Pacific regions being the most affected. Asia alone accounts for about 70% of global dengue burden. The virus is also spreading to new areas, including parts of Europe, the Eastern Mediterranean, and the South America. This rise in dengue cases worldwide is driven by various factors, including urbanization, climate change, and increased human mobility. These elements create ideal conditions for the proliferation Aedes mosquitoes that transmit the virus. This is the crux of the article given here. In this backdrop, let us revise about dengue from the prelims perspective. Dengue virus spread to human through a bite of an infected Aedes species mosquito. These mosquitoes also spread Zika, chikungunya, and other viruses. Dengue is caused by one of any of 4 related viruses: dengue virus 1, 2, 3, and 4. For this reason, a person can be infected with a dengue virus as many as 4 times in his life or her lifetime. Now, talking about its transmission, as we already saw, it is transmitted by the female mosquitoes, mainly of the species Aedes aegypti. And it is to be noted, dengue cannot be spread directly from person to person. The only possible ways are mosquito to human and human to mosquito transmission. There is also evidence of the possibility of maternal transmission. A pregnant woman already infected with dengue can pass the virus to her fetus during pregnancy or around the time of birth. Babies may suffer from preterm birth, low birth weight, and fetal distress. Now talking about the symptoms. See, many dengue infections produce only mild illness. Symptoms like nausea, vomiting, rashes, eye pain, and muscle, joint, and bone pain are the common symptoms. Know that it can cause acute flu-like illness also, and occasionally this develops into potentially lethal complication called severe dengue. And severe dengue can bring complications associated with the severe bleeding, organ impairment, and also plasma leakage, and as a higher risk of death when not managed appropriately. Now talking about the treatment. Know that there is no specific treatment for the dengue. Early detection of disease progression associated with the severe dengue and access to proper medical care lowers fatality rates of severe dengue to below 1%. Dengue prevention and control depends on effective vector control measures. Sustained community involvement can also improve vector control efforts substantially. That's all regarding this article. With this, we are coming to the end of our discussion. Now moving on to the MCQs. So this is our first question, and the question is: consider the following statements regarding diabetes. First statement: type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune condition where the body's immune system attacks insulin producing cells in the pancreas. Statement 2: type 2 diabetes is primarily caused by insulin resistance and is often associated with the obesity and physical inactivity. Statement 3: gestational diabetes occurs only when in women who have a family history of diabetes. And the fourth statement: maturity onset diabetes of the young is a form of diabetes resulting from mutations in multiple genes. Which of the statements given above are correct? Option A, 1 and 2 only. Option B, 2 and 3 only. Option C, 1, 2 and 4 only. And option D, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And the correct answer is option A, 1 and 2 only. Now we will see why the statement 3 and 4 are incorrect. Statement 3, gestational diabetes can occur in any pregnant woman, not only those with a family history of diabetes. So the statement is wrong. And fourth statement is also incorrect. Let's see why. Maturity onset diabetes of the young is caused by mutations in a single gene, not multiple genes. So the statement is clear, it is wrong. Now we will move on to the next question. Which among the following diseases are caused by the Aedes aegypti mosquito? 1. Malaria. 2. Chikungunya. 3. Dengue. And 4. Zika. Select the correct answer from the code given below. Option A, 1 and 2. Option B, 2, 3 and 4. Option C, 3 only. Option D, 1, 2 and 3. So here the correct answer is 2, 3 and 4. Now let's see why malaria is wrong. See, malaria is caused by Plasmodium parasite, not Aedes aegypti. So it is clear cut, it is wrong. The parasites are spread to people through the bites of infected female Anopheles mosquitoes called malaria vectors. That's all. With this we are moving on to the next question. This question is about dengue fever. Consider the following statements with reference to dengue fever. Statement 1. It is transmitted by female mosquitoes, mainly of the species Anopheles. Statement 2. It can be transmitted from human to human, human to mosquito, and from mosquito to human. And statement 3. It mostly causes only mild flu-like illness in the infected persons. Which of the above statements are incorrect? So note that question is asking which of the following statements are incorrect. Option A, 1 only. Option B, 1 and 2 only. Option C, 1 and 3 only. And option D, 3 only. The correct answer is option D, 3 only. Let's see why statement 1 and 2 are wrong. Okay. Statement 1 is incorrect because it is transmitted by the female mosquitoes, mainly of species Aedes aegypti, to a lesser extent Albopictus. Statement 2 is also incorrect because human to human direct transmission is not at all possible in the case of dengue. With this we are moving on to the next question. This question is regarding BIMSTEC. So consider the following statements with reference to BIMSTEC. Statement 1. It is a sector-driven cooperative organization. Statement 2. Only Bay of Bengal littoral states are allowed to be its members. Statement 3. Its sectors of focus include trade, technology and counter-terrorism, among others. Which of the above statements is or are correct? Option A, 1 and 2 only. Option B, 1 and 3 only. Option C, 2 and 3 only. And option D, 1, 2 and 3. Here the correct answer is option B, 1 and 3 only. Now we are going to see why statement 2 is incorrect. As you can see, Nepal and Bhutan are also the member of BIMSTEC. Therefore, it is not only limited to the littoral states of Bay of Bengal. That's all regarding our discussion. And after this, a mains question will be appeared on the screen. Try to answer it. And also don't forget to share, subscribe and like to this channel. Thank you. Have a nice day.